Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. Today we are looking at The Brave and the Bold, Issue 1. This is a 6-issue miniseries starring Batman and Wonder Woman, and it came out in February 2018. Now, this is by Liam Sharp, he's the writer and artist, with colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by ALW's Troy Pateri, cover by Sharp and Fajardo Jr. I butchered those names, I apologize. Anyway, the art is actually very beautiful. It's got a very ethereal feel to it, very Grimm's fairy tales kind of thing going. It's very nicely done. I'm very impressed by the artist. And he's also the writer. Well, we start out in the land of Tir na Nog. Now, for those of you that don't know, that is the Otherworld in Irish mythology, sort of or at least part of it. It's the land of youth, or land of the young. Now, this is actually important because the story revolves around the Irish old gods who are in this land and are effectively trapped there because their power relied on the love of mortals. By the time they realized their power was waning, it was too late, and they had kind of squandered the love people seemed to have for them. There's conflict going on there between two groups. It looks like it's mostly between like a human or elf group and a group of other people, fairies perhaps, goblins, that sort of thing. Well, Wonder Woman is in Antarctica, banging it out with Steve Trevor, having a good old time, saying, "Oh, we have the whole weekend together." Then, foosh! In comes this guy, the former god of fertility, who requires assistance. And it is an interesting exchange. Steve is, of course, not happy about this and pulls a gun on the guy, but she apologizes for him. And the deity understands, and he says, there's nothing to forgive. I imposed on you. There was no audience. And he offers to, gladly anoint the union, as it says. But she declines the offer. So, no babies today. And she says that she's going to need an hour before she helps him, and so they can finish doing their thing. We cut over to Batman at Wayne Manor, and he knows something kooky's going on in the Irish Quarter. It's focused around a 5-block radius. And they don't think it's the Scarecrow because they don't see anything terrifying. They just see this weird, as Alfred describes, a haunted look in people's eyes. Well, also in the Irish Quarter of Gotham City is this crazy hobo who is talking that he is at the crossroads of two ley lines, and he thinks that's the gentry folk, that's the fairy folk, have an entrance there that he is to be granted entrance to. So I'm not sure who he is offhand. I don't think he's a character that I'm supposed to know. I think he's a new one. And his name is Patrick O'Shool. Then we cut back to Wonder Woman, who is talking with this fertility god. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm just going to keep calling him that. And they're crossing the Giant's Causeway into the Otherworld. Then they're going to the court of Danan, where they learn that the King Elatha, I'm probably saying that wrong, I apologize, has died, and they are holding this kid for murder. And Wonder Woman says, "Hey, you have no evidence. He was just here. That doesn't mean anybody's been murdered, much less that he did it. You need evidence." And they're like, nope. And then we see Batman staring at some scary, scary looking monsters. And he's like, "No, Alfred, we were wrong about the terror. It's here." And then Batman is standing there staring off into space like everyone else. And that's where the issue ends. It's mostly a Wonder Woman story so far, because she's doing the most of the stuff here. Batman's not really getting recruited so much as he is getting dragged into the situation. So that's actually really interesting, but it's really well written. There's a lot of talking, but it's all plot driven. It's not too much time-wasting talking. So I'm really glad about that. It did take a little longer to read than your usual action book, but they're setting up the story for later. And I have a good feeling about this one. This issue was a lot of fun. I didn't feel like $4 was overpriced. I thought it was actually pretty good, considering how beautiful some of the art was. This guy can really do a good job. Very detailed, very beautiful scenes. There's a couple of really cool one-page shots. The whole time the Wonder Woman's walking around with this fertility god, it's just amazing to look at. So I highly recommend going out and picking this up. It came out the week of the 18th, I think. So it should still be on the shelves if you're hearing this before the middle of March. So you might get lucky and find a copy. I highly recommend it. I think this one might be a really good story. I'm real impressed with this issue. There are a few Irish mythology things that might be worth referencing. Like if you don't know someone's name who they are in Irish mythology, you might want to hit Wikipedia or a similar website to at least be familiar with the Irish mythology behind the deities and the land, because it actually looks like they're going to go into a little bit of that detail. A great story, very, very well paced, a lot of fun. Not an action issue, I'll tell you that, but it is a very good story issue. And although there is a lot of talking, which generally I find really annoying, it's all plot driven. They're not over explaining what's happening on the page. They're actually telling you stuff that is relevant, history, that sort of thing, that plays into this, that would have been boring to see visually, because it would have just been world building, and it didn't need that. What it needed was somebody just to say, all right, here's the situation, here's what's happening, this is why we need you. And that's exactly what they did. And like I said, the art was amazing. So if you get a chance, track this one down. This is a must-read issue in my opinion, because modern comics are garbage, most of them. And this one is a gem in the pile of crap. Try and pick it up at your local comic shop if you have one near you. Help support them. Of course, let everyone know if you do like the issue. That'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next episode.